Um, Ladies and gentlemen, when you do things in technology that you never thought could be done, no one else is even close to doing, and get a chance to showcase it in this personal way without all the corporate bullshit and the advertising and all the bureaucracy that gets put on top of things. Brad, I love what we get to do, and this presentation is going to be a big treat for everybody because Brad and I are jumping into the Trade Ideas corporate jet made by JetBlue and heading to New York City to participate in our good friend Sean Deckmar's event in Manhattan and meet up with some business people along the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of that presentation because it's germane to what you need to know about Trade Ideas. Brad, are we ready to rock and roll from your end?
Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll, and that sounds good. And let me just start by saying, before you kind of get into it, so we'll save the latter part of this webinar here today for questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to fire them off in the question panel. We'll answer them along the way if we can. Otherwise, we'll wait till the end of the presentation. Okay, Dan?
Yeah, and Tim will definitely get to what you're doing, and then that's part of the presentation. Mike, always a pleasure. Thank you. So let's begin. First of all, the general disclaimer: Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor, and you should not consider that anything you see here is a solicitation to buy or sell securities. This is for educational and informational purposes only. As Brad was mentioning, we are about to start what will no doubt be the biggest test drive that we've ever had. $8.88, and you get to test all of the functionality for a full week. You get the help of Barry and all of the Trade Ideas staff, and we work the whole time with education, information, content. There's a gigantic production that's going into play for this open house, and if you're not in it, of course, we recommend highly that you take advantage of this opportunity and sign up at trade-ideas.com/test drive. Very big. As Brad was mentioning, before, we just put a lot of work into the latest version that we rolled out, and it has so many improvements. Additional AI channels. As Brad was saying, I don't want to say unlimited, but no, what do we say? There's no differential between the price alerts?
Yeah, right now you get 500 of them, right? So you have 500 signals that you can set up in there. And so whether you're a premium or standard subscriber, you're going to have access to that.
Right. So thank you. Yeah, Barry will be part of the open house, of course, and he's going to be presenting the AI and giving his take on it. So the important part of what Brad just mentioned is that think about how we do as a business. We just upgraded the standard version. We didn't do it for the money, we did it for the product. We hear feedback from our users that so many people love these price alerts that we're like, you know what, we're not going to upcharge for them. So now everybody gets the same thing, premium and standard, you get the same price alerts, because again, when you see what I'm going to show today, you'll know why premium is so important. Okay, Brad, do you have your umbrella handy?
My umbrella.
Hold on, Brad and I are both taking out our umbrellas. So before this might as well be another disclaimer. Okay, and Brad, you've heard this disclaimer before. This is the wrist carpal tunnel syndrome disclaimer. For those of you that are either not subscribers at all or only have standard service, I want to make sure that your wrist is functional and flexible, because you're going to want to grab your credit card very quickly and buy the software. So this is the disclaimer before what you're about to see. Right, Brad? Ready? Okay. I warned you. Okay, here we go. Good afternoon. Tim, thank you first of all for participating and for asking the right question. So this is our AI. If you look at the date, which is perfectly hidden in kind of a light gray font on all the AI windows. You're seeing June 29th, 2018. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up, because this was one of the biggest percent gainer. At this point, I think this was the biggest percent gainer we had had. Okay, the call happened at 6:54 a.m. That's Pacific time, so of course, adjust it for your own time frame. And the entry price for GBR, which was the signal, new concept energy, was at 167. This is what it looked like on the daily. This is what the entry looked like on the 5-minute chart. And we reiterate a simple thesis throughout these presentations. It behooves you to pay attention to Holly, the AI, more so really than anything else. And those of you who have the capital to try more of these will win more, because we are the best at creating signals that have potential. Everybody saw this. Barry saw this. Many of you who are not just looking at the software for the first time, you were here and you saw this. So it's just, this is me giving you the timestamp. GBR on the 29th, 120% made in 1 hour. So Brad, remember I told you about my beautiful meme that I did today, that buy and hold is a myth?
I do.
So this kind of points to what I'm trying to say, because as you know, the notion of buy and hold, and we've talked about this, was made by people who wanted to take your money, so that when you buy and you just hold on to it, well, they have it and they can do whatever they want with it. It's a give up your control. We promote the opposite. Take more control over your money, and when you do, you give yourself, through our technology, access to GBR. A fantastic thing that happened in real time that many people got to see. So this is not even the software. This is a picture, okay? But I have another one. Brad, are we ready? So here,
about a week ago.
Right, this was on the whoops, dang, I jumped. I didn't even do that, sorry, right here. So this is another thing that I'm trying to educate the users about, and how you take advantage of the software. You cannot be a one-trick pony. Our software, one of the reasons why it's so successful is that through automation of what successful rules-based trading looks like, and of course the artificial intelligence that constantly learns what to do, we created a systems-based approach that takes advantage of both markets, something that is inherently very difficult for humans to do, because it requires you to be, Brad, Spock from Star Trek. Spock was not emotional, he was logical.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us can be Spock? Very, very few. Now, that isn't, and I want to, Brad, touch upon this, because as you know, I'm going to be talking about this in the presentation, but this kind of touches upon, again, all fields of excellence. Why the Tiger Woodses are better and the pro poker players are better is because they know how to keep their emotions in check. Whereas if you and I are on the golf course and we make a mistake that destroys our confidence, these guys are okay, they know how to file it, they move away, and they keep going. Now, Holly doesn't have those emotions. So this is what happens.
Yeah, and as I look at this particular slide you're on, it's really interesting, because look at the spiders over in the upper right. Not much is going on, a little gap up and kind of hanging up there, but this particular segment of the AI decided to look predominantly short that day, right? And really found some gems.
And we have no control over that. So, Brad, Joey asked a good question. Do you want to answer him?
Okay, so what we've done is one of the most recent additions that we've added to the software is through the channel bar. And through the channel bar, really, we just added this a couple days ago in its most recent iteration, where we're giving you the number of trades that have happened on each one of the different segments, in addition to a visual P&L of that particular segment. So this is just the start of all the different ways that we're going to be able to identify these different signals.
So look at this one.
Independently.
There's something else that we say, by the way, Brad. Early bird gets the worm. So notice the first trade today, the first trade was actually in CRC. You know, the nice short that ended up going down. And that happens a lot. So, Joey, you know, there is no such thing as the goose that laid the golden egg, because we ultimately do have to take risk. You cannot possibly predict which one of these is going to be the great one. So you have the advantages given to those who can try more.
And I think another thing to kind of illustrate one of the concepts or the issues that Joey's talking about is the fact that now you can use the price alerts in conjunction with the AI. So you can be scanning the different AI segments and go through the list of stocks that are generated and put in your price alert signals so that you're
we'll do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, when we get to the software.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying that is kind of the best practice. And that's one of the reasons why we opened up the price alerts to everybody, right? Because it's just something that's so beneficial in your trading. And then for the premium people, when you add that price alert with the AI, it's really a 1-2 punch.
And of course, Barry reiterates this, Jamie, Steve, the whole curriculum and content of trade ideas throughout the week. We ingrained the proper methodology to deal with our tech. So nobody's ever left alone.
It's funny though, I think, wasn't GBR, since that was the question that he asked, wasn't that in several different AIs that day?
It was. I mean, but you know, in this particular example, and at the time that I took this picture, you know, I don't remember if it was or not, but you often have some of the good trades in more than one AI. There's no question about that. And that's one of the things I'm going to show you at the next slide. So I love this one, Brad, because Brad and I are big fans of the whole QAnon phenomenon, and we understand how to read HN, which is something that just requires a little bit more, you know, logical thinking, etc. So we do this kind of breadcrumb of these trades. First of all, if you're thinking about just percentage gains and success, take a look at this. You know, I highlighted, Brad, the whole risk on percentage board on this one. I mean, the software was in destruction mode, and the S&Ps were doing good, but nothing compared to what we're doing. This is when I gave you guys the umbrella and I told you your wrist is going to get hurt. This is what I'm saying. When you look at this, and your brain eventually has to say, hey, that's weird, I've never seen that before. Because you can't have seen that before, because nobody but Trade Ideas does it. Zero, no bati, no one. Why do nobody do it? Because no one has our architecture of our technology. There's not a single other vendor that is even capable of doing what we're doing, which brings me to, Brad, the RETA. What I loved about putting the line here, and this goes back to, this isn't magic. You need to just be paying attention, and when it happens, say, oh, this is a AI call, I'm going to get in. Because look at the beauty. You know that we've designed this thing to be like the best speculator, to know what to do through numbers, not through emotions, not through reading pictures visually, but through numbers, through the ebb and flow of data. And what I loved here is that 611 out of 7.71%. I mean, what else could you ask for? That's like, Brad, is that not like beyond professional baseball or golf statistics?
No, here, you know, obviously it's fantastic, but the thing is, it happens all the time. And when you look at this, there was such a period of consolidation there. So back to the Joey's thing, once that signal occurred, not all of them just instantly run. It gives you such an opportunity to lay your support and resistance lines down and be notified of it when it actually does. And when it does, later in the day, it skyrockets very oftentimes. So
there's Brad, something that I want to mention to everybody here is that we really highly, and we're going to do, Brad, I hate that we're going to have to do everything for everybody, but we're going to end up doing like some graphical libraries of this, because this stuff is really cool. It's almost like an AI comic book. You can go back to the other day, and to some extent, we even have some of this, in history mode, right? Because we do. Go back and look at this day and see some of it. But taking these pictures and kind of, people are picture people. We're good with dealing with them. And this is something that I do all the time, and I recommend this to you. Take pictures of the AI, because it's like a learning mechanism that is very unbiased, and you can reflect back. Like, this is when I say Brad and I sit here smiling ear to ear, enjoying our success at the same time as working very hard to continue it, because we don't rest on our laurels. Which brings me to the upper left-hand corner. Brad, what do I mean when I say no one-hit wonder? And what does that have to do with swing trading?
Yeah. So what you get here in our charts, and this is one of the, I believe it's one of the upgraded features from the version that you would get now, is that what you're getting here is you're getting a historical representation of some of the AI signals. So, if you hover over any of those buy signals, it's going to give you the details of that call, what strategy it came from. So it's just letting you know that this stock has been hitting the radar of the AI. And, having that historical understanding when it triggered on this particular day, 7/12, then, maybe that should inspire a little more confidence, or, have a little bit more of an idea of what to expect.
And one of the things that we talk about, Brad, is that the whole notion of day trading and swing trading are, I'm sadly going to have to say, and work with me here, are just forms of black magic spells. Because investing really is a form of risk allocation, and the time of it just has to do with the risk management. Like, if you can be in it, why would you get out of it? Meaning, it's going up, it's working for you. You exit because something happens, knowing that you don't really ever try to get, 100% of the move, because that's not silly notion. Right. So you take a systems approach. Our AI wins because it plays like a poker bot in a poker tournament. It won't make any statistical mistakes, and eventually, even though it won't be profitable all the time, it will just win way more than it will lose.
Well, and also don't forget, it really has some steadfast rules, the same type of steadfast rules that any good trader would have. You're not going to have any one trade run against you so far that it's going to take you out of the day or take you out of your account. You have to have good trade management, and that's what's incorporated in these signals and in the whole AI as a whole.
Brad, let me ask you a question. How many days this year have you seen the S&P up or down more than 6 points?
Not very often.
I don't think it's ever happened.
Not
maybe one day, but so the other thing too is that we're taking advantage of the fact that indexes are just not efficient data systems. The S&P with the 500 stocks that change like who knows whenever, and how they behave, etc. It is, if you just look at modern science and technology, it's not a very sophisticated system. So in essence, what we do with the AI is we create our own index from scratch, and then we remove it at the end just so that we can lock in our number. So that at the end of the day, we can say, okay, guys, if we started and stopped and got out of everything, because we're not going to rest on our laurels. If we had a great trade yesterday and it appeared gapped up tomorrow and then continue to go up, well, then we wouldn't have to do anything. So we can't do that. So for our track record, we exit these trades. But of course, you realize from looking at what we show you on that RETA in the upper left-hand corner, that's just a guidepost. All of the trades are meant for swing trading. And in fact, Brad, tell me, what is that dashed dotted line that so eloquently says swing exit. What is that? Some sort of swingers bar exit over here? Where do you take that off the highway?
Yeah. So we've got that. We put a bunch of different indicators on the chart to help you, and the swing exit is just one of those. It's kind of similar to the smart stop in that it takes a longer term approach to giving you kind of a stop exit for getting into a position in this stock. So if you're going to hold it longer, this is what you could expect on a potential pullback. So we give you that. What's that?
And it follows the stock.
Absolutely.
The swing exit continues to follow. So this technology is working with you. And remember, we're only looking at pictures. Very pretty pictures, but pictures. Okay. So here, I just wanted to say that, again, we're approaching today. This was yesterday. Okay. Yesterday, Holly, for those of you that don't know, got everyone into PED. Okay. First of all, if you're just wondering, like, what if you weren't in this AI, Neo, look at the other ones. Do you understand? Nobody's doing this. And like I said, no one trick pony, but look at this trade. First of all, this was the first one. So that's an easy one to pick back. What did Dan and Brad say? Early bird gets the worm. $2.46. Last price.
The entry was $2.
Entry was $2.04. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say I rest my case. There's no amount, like, if this doesn't convince you, I don't know what can convince you, and I'm not even trying to convince you, because I will tell you it's not for everyone.
And what did that do? That consolidated for a good 20 to 30 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look.
Or it even busted out.
Yeah, and this happens, but again, that's besides the point. We want to tell you that the evolution of investing has taken place. You have to forget everything that you've learned. You perhaps must forget all the bullshit that you have been taught about investing and ROI and all this. It is complete crap. I'm sorry. Somebody has to say it, Brad. Somebody's got to say it. And the kids that didn't go to Harvard and Stanford, but, kept their nose to the ground and had no turnover for 15 years, built the most incredible technological real-time data navigation system on the planet. And currently today, it runs on the stock market as an artificial intelligence that helps individual investors obliterate the market. That's what we do. That's what this is what you are here for. That's what this presentation is about. And PED was yet just another example as I'm going through showing you, because what happens is sometimes when we go right into it today, people are like, okay, well, I don't know, see, they did good today, but what about tomorrow? So I'm just showing you how that all looked. So yesterday you had this. And by the way, notice, this is something, Brad, you know what I loved about this one? I had the same conversation. I said, by the way, had you gotten rid of PED, you still did really good. There was other great trades. And today. So do you see the continuation of the theme? Today, the second trade was CBIO from the vault. Entry price of 1170, exit price 1243. This is what it looked like. If you were in this from the swing term perspective, there could be incredible potential if you can stay in. Notice the swing exit here is helping you. And I really wanted to put this in as well to show you guys that it's very easy for us to do these kinds of presentations because we have the most amazing technology. So, Brad, before I jump into the software itself, so you can kind of take a look at it in real life, and then Brad and I have a gift for everybody for taking this presentation. For taking your time with us. But I'm going to hit escape right here. Okay, so you can see these are the pictures that I'm showing you. Okay. Whoa, so many people trying to message me. Okay, this is the actual software. So let's take a look at how we did today. Okay, we are on the AI channel of Holy Grail. Everybody see my screen? I want to make sure, Brad, you can see it, right?
Yep, it's coming through just fine.
Right. So there's a couple of things that I want to show you guys, and Brad kind of mentioned them, but I want to reiterate them. On the left-hand side of the channel bar, you see how many trades were made by the AI. This is happening in real time. So when you get in the morning and you're on whatever channel you are, or if you have your own windows open, you can have a channel bar up and know instantly when a trade takes place by numbers and the P&L. Also, we had assumed that everybody possibly has other jobs or aren't always in the market. So the idea is, which one are you going to go to? That's the normal question we assumed you would answer. And what we thought would be helpful is by putting the P&L graph of how the AI has been doing, so you could see, well, this one started good but had some trouble and just kind of eked it out in the end. But this one was very strong, and this one started a little, tough, but then just ran all day. So that you could have the idea is visual confidence, quick snapshot. But I started, Brad, on this channel because this one looked like it was the smallest winner, but I wanted to show.
Not really.
Right. Well, that's what I wanted to show, that looks can be deceiving, and we're going to give people lots of different ways to look at this data, but look at this beautiful trade in CSBR. It just eked it out at the end, but the percentages were pretty strong. In other words, this one trade covers this, this, and this, and that, and that. Okay? And then you got all the rest of this. So percentage-wise, there was quite a bit of opportunity, but look at the beauty. One of the things that you're doing here, and I'm pressing the idea surfing so you can kind of see through more of the trades, is you're doing reps of beautiful trades with your eyes, which is something that most people never get to do because they're so busy, stuck with my technical indicators. Brad, do you know what those are?
My technical indicators, just the bevy of different ways that you can slice and dice numbers. I mean, well, what do you want to use?
Yeah, unfortunately, the businesses at B have made a game of having individual investors chase their tails since the beginning of trading, because they've always wanted to have an advantage over the little guy. It's one of the things that we wanted to change, and we have changed it. The advantage now goes to you if you can apply what we show you and participate in the risk. You're going to beat all the other players because everything is navigated for you. You have all the lines drawn for you. Let me switch channels real quick just to kind of show you, well, it's hypothetically speaking, you're not into the AI at all, but you're just trying to kind of glance at things, okay? So on our channel, we dissect the market like Netflix, but Brad, we need to come up with a better example since you and I are Netflix fans. Whoever does a good, whatever it is that we do. You can break the market up thematically. Here's a channel that focuses on everything that's going up. Biggest gainers today, week, year, and then just different gaining ideas. And notice that it's surfing for you. I've always loved the fact that if you just let it go, let it do what it's doing, you are going to see magic. And the magic is you're training your brain to visualize proper setups and draw proper lines. All the technical analysis that you were previously having to do by hand, we've already done it for you. You've got your swing exit, all your smarts. If you like something, you can, press this hard. And I did that, right here. I clicked on Rite Aid. Notice as soon as I did that, the idea surfing pauses. I'm going to add it to the stocks that I like because this looks like an interesting pattern. So I'm going to do now something that Brad had mentioned about the alerts. So this is where you can go, oh, look at how nice this looks. So there's two things you can do. I can come right over here, for example, and say, the Rite Aid is coming back. I want this pullback. Okay, so notice how the little pin appeared right there. But then I can like go over here and say, well, here's like Rite Aid's real negative, stuff going on, and this is the gap. So I can erase this day because I'm not going to worry about it. But once it gets over here, we're in real interesting territory, and I'm going to want to maybe get serious here. And I'm going to say something, and a lot of times what I do is I freestyle my thoughts. Like I say, get serious. Don't overthink it. Now, Brad, what did we call this? Being bracketed. Why is that, Brad?
Bracketed, bookended. That means this stock is not going to move away without you being aware of it. It's not going to move up. It's not going to move down past that threshold that you've set.
It's almost as if Brad and I are professional mixed martial artists, and we've got this stock in a jiu-jitsu hold. It is impossible for us to miss it. And what I've just done, you can do with every single stock, any price. It just does not matter at all. Whether it's $135 or $1.35. You block it out, you let it come to you. This way, the market is always on your terms. Here's your channels of all the things that you like. All of these things for me, for example, this is my little stuff that as I'm making notes and as I do presentations for you guys, I fill this out. And these are, and you can look at it. Look at these setups. Notice like there's like a theme, right? You can see it. That's how you get your eyes. Notice, you can see it. And that's the beauty of working with our technology, is that it becomes your real digital assistant, and it becomes the promise of what technology should have been. Instead of replacing you, it is the synergistic union of the best of mankind, which is that ability to take the risk, to manage it. You have to find this, and you have to believe and understand that this is possible. Once you do, you are free to reap the benefits. Most people cannot get their mind around the fact that something like this could even exist. They're afraid of it. So do not be surprised if you also find yourself being a little scared. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Holly Neo. Let me go to risk off mode here. Risk off mode is the more risk conservative method. In this case, they're both very close. So we'll go over them. But risk off means that you're following the entry time and the exit time as per the messaging. Risk on is you're staying most of the day trying to get as much out of the risk as you can. Some days are risk on, some days are risk off. It is much like surfing. Sometimes there's one type of break, sometimes there's another type of break. By the way, sometimes both breaks occur in the same day or set. Lots of natural phenomenon occur in the market when you watch it through Trade Ideas eyes, and none of it occurs when you watch it on CNBC. You like that, Brad?
Good one.
So here, I'm just showing you again the percentages, how and what we're trying to do numerically. And again, you still have to take your losses. See, this is the thing. They happen. You lose. It is possible to lose, but when you execute on the strategy, you find yourself in a completely different situation. You're no longer worried about anything, because you're not worried even that you're making money today. You're not concerned about it's, Brad, you know what it's like? It's almost like, when pro golfers are making a swing and they visualize, you can't get attached to the result that you had on the last hole, right? You have to kind of erase that and go to the next one. This is the same thing. By watching how this progresses, you learn the proper habits of success.
So let me highlight something here, because it's really interesting as I'm staring at this data, and then we'll get to Alfredo's question, which is a good one. But as I'm staring at this data, something really pops out at me, and it's easier than you guys think it is. And when you look at these signals here, a question that I get all the time is, how do you know whether to do risk off or risk on? It's a good question, you know, but it's easier than you think it might be. And look at the exit reason as it correlates to the green, as it correlates to the color of the profitability. So these were all positions that were exited after a time stop. That means that everything was working out just fine in that strategy or in that particular trade. You know, it just got out because every single strategy has a time expiration. We do that so that we can do the optimization, so that we can benchmark the best type of result for that strategy. And you know, if you're getting out because of a timed exit all the time, well, that may be something you may want to reconsider. It's really an idea. It's a judge. It's a gauge, if you will. But when things are all going your way, the market's still up, nothing's really changing much, and you have this timed exit, well, it doesn't necessarily mean just dump it and run. Put a critical eye on it. Might be worth keeping.
Or set an exit, take half. There's, you know, this is again, Brad, you know, Brad and I are very good buddies that play golf together, and Brad is such a dang good golf player, and I suck so terribly for having played now for so long. But I know a lot about it, and I like to teach Brad everything I know. But there's so many of those synergies between the way people approach the game of golf, Brad, and the way that they approach professional or active investing. And again, you don't have to be a professional. Professional means just that you treat it like a business. But here, when you invest and when you play golf, investing is really like scrambling, Brad, you know? Like all the practice that you have, all the technical analysis, once you're in a trade, it's a scramble.
That's all about the management of the trade. Absolutely.
Right. And you have to understand how to control your heart rate and how to execute the plan. Because if you don't, the others who are going to be taking advantage of you. It's that simple. Everything that we do here, all these colors, all these lines, they're your navigational tools. They are designed to help you to navigate the quicksand without technical analysis, without chasing your tail, without Bloomberg, without having to answer the question of, what's the news? What's the news out on it? In fact, whenever you start asking yourself or repeating things that you may have heard being spoken on TV, like, hey, do you guys have news? Do you guys have that the 14.8 period exponential moving average of the leap year? Huh? What? Brett, do you have that? The leap year moving average?
Nope.
Yeah. You don't need anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, it's simpler than it is. You know, we got what you need. It's just a matter if you can handle it. That's all it is. That's the question you have to ask yourself. Can you handle it? Okay, so we talked about the strategy. We talked about the statistics. Open house. This is a big one, guys.
Hold on. Let's go back. Rewind. Go back to that because I do want to answer Alfredo's question because it's a good one. And he wants to know specifically about what's the difference between the three different AIs. And I don't want to kind of go crazy here, but I do want to kind of give you guys a little foundation as to what we do. And
please.
Okay, so let's start out. You kind of have to have several different concepts and know what they are, like a base strategy, optimization, and our combine. It's really those three different items that really determine these three different segments. So let's start off with the first one, the base strategies. We have a little more than 40 now, about 45 different base strategies that the AI optimizes every single day. So at the end of the market, the system goes through these different strategies. It looks at all the filter setups on them, runs the historical analysis, and optimizes them. It goes through our backtesting tool, the odds maker, and refines each of those 40 strategies after the market. It optimizes them. But it does this in three different iterations, kind of like three completely firewalled environments. It's looking at, well, to be fair, Holly Neo does look at a few more strategies than Holly Grail, but it's really just going through the optimization process. And once it's done that optimization, it enters into what we call the combine. And the combine is like, it's kind of likened to the NFL Pro Combine, but essentially what it does is it lets all these strategies compete for each other based on its metrics, and it finds the best of the best in each one of these different segments. So while all these segments are looking at, for the most part, a lot of the same strategies, they're all being optimized differently. So Sunrise Mover and Holly Grail is being optimized differently than Sunrise Mover and Holly Neo. And so at the end of that, we're going to find the different strategies that made the cut. And even though you may find similar strategies, they're going to be different because they've been optimized differently. So we're going to get a different flavor with that. And we're set up in the future to be able to not only have different strategies in each one of these segments, but to be able to put in different risk parameters, to have different algorithms set up for the profit save and have different types of stop losses. So all of that gives us the ability to really refine each of these different segments individually. So it's kind of a long-winded thing, but there's a lot to what goes on with respect to these strategies, and there's a lot that goes into the creation of them that allows these types of 10%, 20%, 100% movers to be identified.
Well, these are all the competitive advantages that we've brought to the table over the 15 plus years of pure software development, never having to stop, and we're continuously and continually evolving that code. The results are what you guys see here. And we started with Holly Grail, which is Brad why I put it up first. This was the original first channel. And what we realized was that kind of doing it that one way was not only unfair to us, but we wanted to sort of give people with more risk-taking ability more opportunity, and it paid out in gigantic dividends because it allowed us to also rethink about how we look at the patterns. And so now we can hunt in 3 different ways. It's almost like you've got the Marines, you know, you've got the Navy and the Air Force, air, sea, land. That's sort of what we have here with Holly. Brad, will you patent that? I just made that up.
All we need now is space.
Holly Space Force. I love it. Okay, Brad, can I go back to the presentation?
Yeah, it's all yours.
Okay. So we do, this is where, once again, please watch your wrists for those that don't have trade ideas. We do all of this for dimes on the dollar because we are good people, and if we were funded by a venture capital company, this would cost a lot of money and we would only sell it to Bloomberg and nobody would know about it. But here we do this for Coke and a bag of chips. Amazing stuff because we did it all from scratch. That's really the only reason why we're able to do it. We don't have any Oracle parts and Oracle code. We did it all ourselves. There's a promo code FLY, F-L-Y, in July, all caps. That gives you 15% off your first month or off of the year of trade ideas in whichever one, premium or standard. This is such an important time for you guys to get in the market because the market is about to take off, and it will be taking off in both directions. So don't get confused, but you need to be in it. There's so many things going on. So many things, and we have education for you to get you acquainted with all of it, including what happens when it doesn't just keep going up. There's technique. It's kind of like learning, you know, a piano. You got to learn the chords. There's the proper chords for the down market, and we have a really good ebook for that done by our own Sean McLaughlin. Why do I always do that every single time? He gets me every time, Brad.
What'd you do?
I keep pressing on this thing. A big shout out and gracious thank you to Barry Anderson, who conducts our trading room day in, day out, no sleep, no water, no food. He's there like an oracle, like one of the watchers, Brad. He's there making sure everybody gets the best of best practices. He's the moderator of our trading room, and our trading room has a fantastic meritocracy of very skilled and kind active investors who help one another. There's no, you know, there's no tolerance for bullshit. People are nice to each other, and we work towards a more positive vibrational win-win environment for everybody. I recommend this. It's free. You do not have to be any kind of Trade Ideas subscriber to have access to our trading room. one of the best things that we do. Myself and Jamie and guests, we do a Friday podcast where we dig deep into the metaphysics of trade ideas, including the technology. This is where I usually talk about something that I've discussed every single Q&A for the last 3, and I'm going to say it to you guys. Our company is going public in 2020, and those that are subscribers to Trade Ideas will be rewarded with some sort of share allotment based on how long you've been a subscriber. So we're going to thank our subscribers, our clients, our customers, our friends, by rewarding them at the IPO stage. Same thing for our affiliates. The more that you've helped us, the more we're going to help you. We believe that we could not do this without the people. We're a people company. We don't get our dough from the big institutions, although we have some of them as customers, but they are a smidgen of what we get from people like yourselves, and we're grateful for that. Check out the podcast. And once again, IPO 2020, December 22nd, either full IPO or a reverse shell. We're still working on that. Once again, I want to finish this off with the most important part, and the real reason we did this is to make sure you guys are all aware that this test drive, the biggest one we've ever had, 3 AIs, upgraded a version that Brad just talked about with same amounts of limit alerts, 500 for both premium and regular subscribers. So we're improving the standard service. If you have not registered and you're a regular subscriber, please do so at trade-ideas.com/test drive. And of course, as always, you can get a hold of anybody. We have a support team that is dedicated to helping answer questions in the most expedient manner. Please reach out to us at your convenience. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at TradeIdeas1, and our corporate account is at TradeIdeas. Please like us on Facebook /TradeIdeasPro. And if you have any other questions about this presentation, about any of the things that we do, feel free to email us at info@trade-ideas.com, and also check out our YouTube page. We are grateful for your time today. This is the evolution of where it's going. We are in charge of it, and we're excited. Never been happier. Brad, thank you once again. And this is going to be recorded and will be available, Brad, when?
It'll be up on our YouTube site tonight, or you guys will, anybody that registered will get an email tomorrow.
Okay. Brad, once again, thank you very much. And thank you all for working with us. We never stop. No finish line. Take care.
Bye, buddy.